When humans finally entered the war, they ended it in only 5 hours. The war was between a large alliance of invading alien races and a group of defending planets that could barely hold their ground. The defenders were tired, scared, and losing hope. Every day brought new battles and new reports of planets falling. The humans had stayed quiet. Earth had avoided the war. Humans watched from their distant system, careful not to interfere. Many in the galaxy believed humans were slow, emotional, and not strong enough to matter in such a war. Ethan Brooks was a human diplomat. He had been sent to a remote Allied command center to observe the war. He was not allowed to fight, only to study and report. Ethan had seen many alien leaders argue over strategy, over ships, over lives lost. He could not help but feel sorrow for the defenders. They were brave but exhausted. Ethan was calm, careful, and patient. He spoke little but listened more. He believed humans could make a difference if they chose to act. Laura Bennett was a human science officer. She spent her days studying reports from the battlefields. She examined alien technology, enemy movements, and the patterns of the war. She was fascinated by the machines of the enemy, but also disturbed by the endless death they caused. Laura believed humans could fight smarter, not just harder. She had no wish to see humans enter a war like this, but she also knew the time might come when they had to act. The Allied leaders were desperate. They had lost a major planet only a week ago. Billions of lives were gone in one attack, and the remaining planets feared they could be next. Commander Rax, a large reptilian alien, spoke angrily to his council. "We cannot survive like this. We need humans," he said. The other leaders shook their heads. "Humans. They are weak, they will not fight for us," one said. Rax growled. "We have seen what other races do. Humans are late to every fight. If we wait, we are dead." The alien council argued for hours. Humans were discussed as if they were mythical creatures. Stories of human bravery and ingenuity circulated among the older leaders. Young commanders laughed. They did not believe humans could matter. "Humans are emotional. They hesitate. They are not strong enough for war," one young officer said. Rax slammed his claw on the table. "We have no choice. We must ask them for help." Back on Earth, the human council met in silence. Ethan presented his observations. He described the destruction, the lost lives, the desperation of the Allies. He explained the enemy's plans, how they intended to wipe out entire worlds next. The council listened carefully. The room was quiet. For years, humans had stayed neutral. They wanted peace, not war. Some council members argued that getting involved would risk everything. Others said that standing aside would mean billions of deaths, including potentially their own people. Laura showed the council what she had learned from alien technology. She explained how humans could prepare faster than anyone imagined. Humans did not have the largest fleets, but they had intelligence, strategy, and coordination. "We can fight smarter," she said. "We can end wars quickly if we act carefully." Some council members were surprised. They had always thought humans were slower, weaker. Now they realized humans could surprise the galaxy. After long debate, the council made their decision. Humans would enter the war, but quietly. They would not send huge fleets immediately. They would prepare, study, and strike when ready. Ethan was tasked to send a message to the Allied fleets. It was a simple message, brief and calm. Humans were coming. The Allied leaders received the message with mixed feelings. Some cheered. Others were doubtful. They did not understand what humans could do. Rax, still skeptical, said, "Humans are late to every fight. We should not expect miracles." Yet hope grew. Hope that perhaps humans could change the course of the war. The enemy, on the other hand, was not concerned. They received reports of human involvement but laughed. The enemy commander, a tall, insect-like alien named Zoran, said, "Humans, they are weak. They will take months to even arrive. We will crush them like the others." His officers nodded. None feared humans. None realized how wrong they were. Ethan and Laura returned to their stations on Earth's space hub. Ethan studied the Allies' positions, listening to their communications. Laura studied enemy movements, predicting their next attacks. Humans did not rush. They prepared quietly, deliberately. Their ships were designed to be fast, coordinated, and precise. Their cyber teams could disable enemy systems in minutes. Their command centers could simulate battles faster than any alien could imagine. The galaxy did not know what humans were capable of. Aliens believed humans were emotional and slow. Allies hoped humans would fight. The enemy believed humans would fail. Humans, however, were calm. They waited, watched, and learned. They knew they could end this war if they acted smart. 1 week later, the Allied planets reported another major attack. A moon-sized station was destroyed. Billions more lives were lost. Rax roared in anger. "We need humans now," he said. The council pleaded with Ethan. "Please, your people must fight. We cannot survive without you." Ethan listened but did not speak. He sent the message to the human council. The allies begged for help. After careful thought, the council gave the final order. Humans would enter the war. Ethan activated communications channels across the Allied fleets. The message was simple: human forces are on their way. No details, no threats, just the calm fact that humans would arrive. Alien commanders reacted differently. Some doubted it, some hoped for help. Others still mocked humans. They could not imagine what was coming. The enemy fleet did not change course. Zoran laughed, believing humans were just another weak race. He could not see the storm forming across the galaxy. On Earth, humans quietly prepared their ships. Captain Daniel Price reviewed his team. Megan Clark, head of cyber warfare, checked systems. Every ship was ready. The human fleet was smaller than the largest alien fleets, but every crew member knew their mission. Precise strikes, careful planning, and speed were their weapons. Humans would not fight like other races. They would fight differently. As Ethan watched the war from his observation station, he felt a strange calm. The galaxy was about to witness something new. Humans were no longer neutral observers. They were about to enter the war. The first part of the human plan was simple: observe, prepare, and wait. But the second part, which no alien could predict, would change the galaxy forever. Within hours, humans would show their true power. The defenders, exhausted and hopeless, looked to the stars and waited. They did not know how humans would fight. They only knew that help had finally arrived. The enemy, confident and arrogant, ignored the warning. They would soon learn that humans did not fight like any other race. Ethan and Laura stood together on the observation deck. The stars were calm, silent, and beautiful. Ethan whispered, "They do not know what is coming." Laura nodded, her eyes focused on the maps of enemy fleets. "No one does, and that is why we will win." The galaxy was at a turning point. Billions of lives hung in the balance. The humans were ready. In just a few days, they would enter the war, and nothing would ever be the same. The human fleet left Earth quietly. Their ships were not large like the alien armadas. They were small, fast, and smartly designed. Captain Daniel Price led the first group. Megan Clark, head of cyber warfare, monitored enemy communications from her station. Every crew member knew their task. Humans did not fight like other races. They would act differently, carefully, and with precision. Allied commanders watched from their command ships. They were hopeful but confused. "How many ships do humans bring?" asked Commander Rax. Ethan replied, "Not many, but they are enough. Watch closely." The Allies did not understand human tactics. They expected humans to send huge fleets like the others did. They expected humans to fight slowly, learning as they went. They were wrong. The enemy fleet, commanded by Zoran, laughed at the news. "Humans are slow. They will take months to reach us. We do not need to worry," he said. His officers agreed. None of them knew humans could act faster than anything they had seen. They ignored reports that human ships were already in positions near the war zone. On the human ships, Laura studied enemy movements. She predicted where fleets would move, where supplies would go, and which worlds were most at risk. Humans could calculate faster than any alien. Megan prepared to disable enemy systems with cyber attacks. Humans did not need raw firepower. They needed precision. Small strikes in the right place could change everything. As they approached the first contested sector, the human fleet slowed and waited. Captain Daniel spoke calmly to his crew. "Watch, observe, and prepare. We strike only when everything is ready." The crew nodded. They had trained for years for this moment. Simulations on Earth had prepared them for every move the enemy might make. The Allied fleets could not hide their surprise. Human ships appeared faster than they had expected. Some smaller alien commanders panicked. They sent urgent messages to their leaders asking if humans could really act so quickly. Rax only nodded. "This is why we asked for help," he said quietly. He had never expected humans to arrive so soon. Zoran, the enemy commander, still laughed. He did not think humans mattered. He ordered his ships to continue attacking weak Allied positions. He did not realize humans were already in place, studying his fleet, and waiting for the exact moment to act. Humans had no intention of wasting time. They would strike with strategy, not emotion. The first hour of human involvement began quietly. Humans did not fire their weapons yet. Megan's cyber team moved first. They entered the enemy communication networks. Within seconds, the enemy could not send orders. Ships began moving incorrectly. Turrets fired on friendly vessels by mistake. Confusion spread. Captain Daniel gave calm, clear orders. Target command ships and supply hubs first. Precision only. Do not destroy unless necessary. Human ships moved in perfect formation. They avoided unnecessary damage and focused on key points. Alien allies watched, unable to understand what humans were doing. "They are too calm," one said. "Why do they wait?" Enemy officers panicked as their systems failed. They had never faced a force that could disable communication in seconds. Their ships collided, some drifting into others. Small groups tried to retreat, but Laura's predictions blocked every path. Humans had calculated escape routes in advance. The enemy could not run, and they did not understand why. The Allied fleet, meanwhile, felt hope for the first time in years. Ships that had hidden for months now moved openly, inspired by the humans' calm and precise movements. Ethan watched the fleets, reporting back to Earth. "They do not panic, they fight smarter. This is not like any other force we have seen," he said. Zoran could not believe what was happening. His fleets were falling into chaos, yet humans had not fired a single missile yet. "This cannot be possible," he said. His officers shouted suggestions, but none worked. Humans had already predicted their reactions. Every move the enemy made had been studied and countered before it happened. In the second hour, human ships began small strikes. They targeted energy hubs and key supply stations. Explosions were precise, minimal, and efficient. Enemy casualties were fewer than expected, but the damage to enemy capability was enormous. The enemy could not respond effectively. Chaos spread from fleet to fleet. Allies could finally understand human strength. Humans did not fight like other races. They did not throw ships blindly into battle or attack out of anger. They studied, predicted, and acted. Every movement had a purpose. Rax whispered to Ethan, "They are not like us. They are something else." Ethan only nodded. On the human ships, crew members worked quietly. Megan controlled enemy sensors and weapons remotely. She smiled as enemy turrets turned on each other. Captain Daniel made small adjustments, guiding human ships to targets. Laura updated predictions constantly. The human plan was clear: strike hard, strike fast, and control the enemy without unnecessary destruction. Zoran began to realize he had underestimated humans. He tried to retreat, but paths were blocked. Every fleet that moved found humans waiting. Small messages arrived from human ships. "Surrender now and survive. Resistance is useless." Some enemy commanders hesitated. Their crews were terrified. Fear spread faster than the explosions. The Allied leaders were amazed. They had asked humans for help, but they did not imagine humans could act so quickly. Ethan explained, "Humans are not strong in numbers like you, but they are strong in thought. They win by thinking, not by force." Rax could only nod. He had never seen a force so effective in such a short time. By the third hour, enemy fleets were in full retreat. Some tried to escape to other sectors, but humans had predicted these moves. Laura's calculations ensured that humans blocked every path. Panic spread through the enemy lines. Zoran's officers argued, but nothing could save them. Humans were always one step ahead. Humans did not celebrate. Captain Daniel reminded his crew, "We are not done yet. Our job is to end the war, not fight endlessly." Precision is everything, the crew understood. They had trained for this. Small, careful actions could end battles that others thought would last months. In the fourth hour, human strikes continued. They targeted command ships, leaving enemy vessels powerless but intact. Humans wanted to control, not destroy. They disabled enemy fleets efficiently. Each move showed careful planning. The galaxy began to notice that humans were not like other races. They did not fight with anger or pride. They fought with intelligence. Zoran could no longer command. Fear had taken over his officers. They could not follow orders. Some tried to flee only to find humans waiting. Others surrendered quietly. Human messages were clear: surrender and live. Humans wanted no unnecessary death. Allied commanders were both amazed and grateful. They had survived years of war, and humans had changed everything in hours. Ethan observed quietly. He knew the galaxy had underestimated humans for centuries. The humans had shown that intelligence, coordination, and careful planning could achieve what raw power could not. As the fifth hour began, humans prepared for the final strikes. They were calm, precise, and ready. No alien expected humans to act so quickly or efficiently. The enemy had lost hope. Allied forces moved with confidence for the first time in decades. Humans had turned despair into hope. Ethan and Laura watched the preparations. "They do not know what is coming next," Ethan said quietly. Laura nodded. "No one does." And that is why humans will end this war fast. Humans were ready to show their full power. In only a few hours, they would control the battlefield and force the enemy to surrender. The galaxy was about to witness a new type of strength. The human fleet moved with quiet precision. No one cheered. No one shouted. Humans did not need to. Every ship, every crew member, every calculation was part of a plan. The enemy could not imagine what was about to happen. Alien leaders were terrified. Allied leaders were amazed. Humans, as usual, were calm. In these first hours, humans proved they were not like other races. They did not fight for pride, anger, or revenge. They fought for efficiency, intelligence, and survival. Small actions in the right place were more powerful than massive fleets. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long. The stage was set for the next step. Humans were not finished. The enemy still held command worlds, but the humans had already planned their moves. Within hours, the war could end. Humans had shown that careful planning, speed, and intelligence were stronger than sheer numbers. Ethan looked at the star-filled sky. "The war will end soon," he said. Laura smiled. "And it will not take months or years. Only hours." The humans had entered the war, and the galaxy had never seen anything like them. In only 5 hours, everything could change. The first human strikes had already changed the battlefield. Alien fleets were in confusion. Ships collided, turrets fired on friendly vessels, and entire squadrons lost communication. Yet the humans did not celebrate. Captain Daniel Price watched calmly from his command deck. Every movement was controlled, every order precise. Humans did not panic. They did not shout. They acted like a single mind. Megan Clark's cyber team worked quickly. Her fingers flew over the controls. Every enemy sensor, every communication line, every defense system was slowly falling under human control. She smiled quietly. The enemy thought they were strong, but they had no idea how vulnerable they were. A single human team could disable hundreds of enemy ships without firing a shot. Ethan observed from the observation station near Earth. He reported everything back to the Human Council. The Allies were watching in awe. Commander Rax whispered, "I cannot believe this. They do not just fight. They think faster than the enemy can react." Allied officers nodded, their hope rising for the first time in decades. The enemy, led by Zoran, was panicked. Their fleets were disorganized and morale had dropped. Zoran tried to coordinate attacks, but his orders were ignored or delayed. "Humans cannot be this fast," he said, his voice trembling. His officers tried to reassure him, but every move they made had already been predicted. Humans had anticipated escape routes, counterattacks, and fleet formations. There was no place to hide. In the second hour of battle, human ships began small but devastating strikes. They focused on key targets. Power hubs, command vessels, and supply carriers were disabled. Explosions were controlled. Enemy casualties were minimized, but the damage to enemy capacity was enormous. Ships could not fire, maneuver, or communicate. Alien commanders shouted orders, but no one could follow them. Allied commanders watched closely. They had never seen warfare like this. "Humans do not fight like us," one said. "They are not loud and they are not angry. They are precise. Everything they do works." Ethan nodded. "Humans do not rely on emotion or pride. They rely on intelligence. And that makes them stronger than anyone else here." Captain Daniel gave calm orders to his fleet. "Hold formation. Disable only what is necessary. Watch for movement. Do not overextend." Every ship followed exactly. Human coordination was perfect. Even when enemy ships tried to scatter, human teams anticipated the moves and blocked them before they could escape. Laura Bennett studied enemy formations constantly. She updated the crew on potential paths of retreat. Every calculation was precise. Every strike was planned. Humans did not waste energy, time, or lives. Even minor mistakes by the enemy were magnified because humans exploited them immediately. The enemy fleets began to panic further. Small groups of ships tried to retreat to safe sectors. Human ships were waiting at every path. Megan sent messages to these fleeing fleets. "Surrender and survive. Resistance is useless." Some officers hesitated. Fear had spread faster than any weapon. Human psychological control was as strong as their ships. In the third hour, human attacks became more aggressive. They disabled enemy command vessels without destroying them. Enemy ships floated, powerless, unable to continue fighting. Captain Daniel made sure that no unnecessary destruction happened. "We do not kill when we can control," he said. "Control is stronger than destruction." Allied forces began moving openly, inspired by human calmness and efficiency. Ships that had hidden for months now attacked in coordination with humans. Ethan reported the progress to Earth. "The enemy is losing control. The fleets are panicked. Humans are not just fighting. They are ending fear." Zoran realized he had underestimated humans. His fleets were scattered, his officers confused, his soldiers terrified. He tried to regain control, but humans had anticipated every command. Every counterattack failed. His ships collided, some caught in human traps, others immobilized by cyber attacks. The enemy morale collapsed. Humans did not celebrate, they were careful. Captain Daniel reminded his fleet, "We are not done, keep focus, every move counts." Human discipline was unmatched. Every crew member knew their role, every calculation mattered, no mistake was allowed. The enemy could not imagine such calm efficiency in warfare. The Allied commanders began to understand humans' unique power. "They do not fight for pride or anger," one said. "They fight with intelligence. That is why they are unstoppable." Ethan nodded. "Humans can end wars in ways other races cannot. It is not strength in numbers, it is strength in thought." By the fourth hour, human ships surrounded enemy fleets completely. Escape routes were blocked. Communication was controlled. Power systems were disabled. Every enemy command ship was isolated. Zoran's officers begged him to surrender, but fear had frozen them. They could not act. Humans had calculated every possible move, and there was no way out. Small alien fleets attempted desperate attacks. Humans responded with minimal force, disabling ships without destroying them. Explosions were precise. Damage was controlled. Humans wanted no unnecessary death. Every move showed their discipline. Allies watched in awe. "They fight like they planned the universe itself," Commander Rax whispered. Laura continued to calculate enemy positions. Every fleet movement, every retreat, every attack had been predicted. Human strikes were faster than the enemy could respond. Small mistakes by alien commanders were magnified immediately. Human control spread across the battlefield like a wave. Ethan observed quietly. He knew the turning point had arrived. Humans had disrupted enemy fleets, blocked escape paths, and disabled command centers. Morale had collapsed. Fear spread faster than any weapon. Humans were not just winning, they were ending resistance. Zoran could not understand. How is this possible? Humans cannot move this fast. They cannot think this clearly. They are not just soldiers, they are something else. His officers could not answer. The enemy fleet was paralyzed. Some surrendered quietly. Others drifted in space, unable to act. Humans had taken control of the battlefield without massive destruction. By the fifth hour, humans prepared the final phase of the operation. Captain Daniel gave clear instructions. "We move to disable the remaining command worlds. No unnecessary destruction. Control is our goal." Human crews were calm, focused, and ready. The enemy could no longer organize. Allied forces moved confidently behind humans. Hope had returned to the galaxy. Human coordination was perfect. Megan controlled enemy sensors, Laura predicted every move, and Daniel guided ships calmly. Every strike was planned. Every path was blocked. Every enemy fleet was immobilized before it could act. Humans had shown that intelligence, discipline, and planning were stronger than anger, emotion, or raw numbers. Allied leaders were amazed and grateful. They had survived decades of war, and humans had changed everything in hours. Ethan reported, "Humans are not like any other race. They end wars quickly, efficiently, and without unnecessary death. The galaxy will never be the same." Zoran and remaining enemy officers were terrified. They could not escape. Their fleets were powerless. Their worlds could not resist. Humans had proven that they could control the battlefield completely. Fear had replaced courage. Surrender seemed inevitable. Humans did not celebrate. They were precise, calm, and disciplined. Every ship, every crew member, every action was part of a plan. They had proven that wars could end in hours, not months or years, when strategy and intelligence were applied. As the fifth hour approached its final minutes, humans moved closer to the enemy command world. Ethan whispered, "This is it, the final move." Laura nodded, "And the galaxy will see the difference between humans and every other race." The human fleet was ready to end the war in a way no one had imagined. The stage was set. Humans had disrupted, controlled, and immobilized the enemy completely. Allied forces could now follow confidently. Within minutes, the war would reach its turning point. Humans had shown that intelligence, discipline, and coordination were the ultimate weapons. The enemy could no longer resist. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long. And in a few moments, humans would prove that when they entered a war, they could end it faster than any race had ever imagined. The final hour was coming, and everything was about to change. The enemy fleets were in complete chaos. Ships drifted powerless through space, weapons disabled, and crews terrified. Zoran tried desperately to regain control, but humans had anticipated every possible move. Captain Daniel Price gave calm orders to his fleet. "Hold formation, maintain control, do not destroy unless necessary. Our goal is command, not destruction." Megan Clark's cyber team spread control over the remaining enemy systems. Every sensor, every turret, every communication channel was now under human oversight. The enemy could not fight, could not retreat, and could not communicate effectively. Humans had turned their own technology against them. Small mistakes by alien officers became disasters because humans exploited them instantly. Ethan observed quietly from his station near Earth. Allied commanders were watching in awe. "I cannot believe what we are seeing," Commander Rax whispered. "They do not just fight. They dominate without rage, without chaos. They control." Ethan nodded. "Humans are not like any other race. They end wars in ways no one expects." The remaining enemy leaders tried to organize a retreat to safe sectors. Humans had predicted every route. Laura Bennett's calculations had blocked every path. Escape was impossible. Human ships waited at every junction, calm and precise. Even when enemy fleets tried sudden maneuvers, they ran into traps humans had set hours before. Small enemy squadrons attempted desperate attacks. Humans responded carefully, using minimal force to disable ships without destruction. Explosions were controlled and efficient. Enemy crews were immobilized, not slaughtered. Humans wanted to end resistance, not create chaos. The galaxy began to notice a new kind of strength, discipline, and intelligence over brute force. Zoran could not understand what was happening. He shouted orders, but his officers were frozen with fear. Fleets collided. Ships drifted without power. Panic spread faster than any weapons could. Humans had taken control of every sector in this part of the galaxy. Even his command world was now vulnerable. Allied forces moved confidently behind the humans. Ships that had hidden for decades now fought openly, inspired by human calm and efficiency. Ethan reported everything back to Earth. "Humans are not only winning battles, they are spreading hope. The galaxy is seeing a new kind of power." Captain Daniel Price gave his fleet new instructions. "Move to isolate remaining command centers, maintain control, prevent destruction, use only what is necessary." Human crews followed orders without question. Every move was planned, every strike precise. Humans had shown that wars could be won in hours when intelligence and planning were applied. Megan sent precise messages to enemy ships. "Surrender now. Resistance is useless. Your crews will live." Some enemy officers hesitated. Fear had spread like wildfire. Morale collapsed completely. Alien fleets could not continue without their commanders. Humans had removed every option for organized resistance. In the third hour of Part 4, humans consolidated control over the remaining enemy fleets. Every system was blocked. Every fleet immobilized. Humans had disrupted logistics, communication, and power generation. The enemy could no longer organize even minor attacks. Small, isolated units surrendered quietly. Fear had replaced courage. Zoran's officers begged him to surrender, but he refused. He tried to escape using the fastest ship in his fleet. Laura's predictions had already anticipated the move. Human ships were waiting. Zoran's path was blocked. He realized there was no way out. Human planning had left him trapped. Allied leaders were amazed. They had survived decades of war, and humans had changed everything in hours. Ethan reported calmly, "The enemy fleets are immobilized. Morale is zero. Humans have taken complete control. The war can end in hours, not years." Humans did not celebrate. Captain Daniel reminded his crews, "We are not done. Precision is everything. Control is our strength. Keep calm." The crews followed, disciplined and quiet. Human calmness was a weapon just as powerful as their ships or cyber attacks. Megan continued her work, shutting down the last remaining communication channels. No enemy ships could send orders. No fleets could coordinate. Humans had full control over the battlefield. Even minor enemy mistakes were magnified because humans were ready to exploit them immediately. Laura updated predictions constantly. She guided human ships to block every possible escape or counterattack. Human strikes were fast, precise, and controlled. Every action showed that humans fought differently. They did not fight with anger or pride. They fought with intelligence. In the fourth hour, humans moved toward the enemy command world. Every path was secure. Enemy fleets were powerless. Even the most stubborn commanders could not resist. Humans had surrounded the world completely. The galaxy watched, unable to believe what humans were doing. Ethan observed the calm efficiency. "Humans are finishing what they started," he said. Allied leaders nodded. Hope and amazement filled their hearts. Rax whispered, "They are not like any other race. They do not just fight. They dominate without chaos. They end wars in hours." Zoran, trapped and terrified, tried to negotiate. He sent desperate messages to Captain Daniel. "Spare my world." "I will surrender," Daniel replied calmly. "Surrender now. Your fleets are powerless. We will not destroy your world. Resistance is useless." Zoran had no choice. He knew humans controlled everything. Human crews moved with quiet precision. They landed minimal forces to secure the command world. No unnecessary destruction occurred. No civilian lives were harmed. Humans demonstrated that wars could be ended quickly without massive loss of life. They valued control and intelligence above all. The Allied fleets moved openly now, inspired by humans. They followed in formation, ready to secure territory with minimal conflict. The galaxy saw that humans fought differently. They did not need rage or overwhelming numbers. Humans used thought, strategy, and calm discipline to dominate. By the fifth hour of Part 4, humans had complete control over the war zone. Every enemy fleet was immobilized or surrendered. Every enemy command center was blocked or captured. Fear spread across enemy ranks faster than any weapon. Surrender was inevitable. Humans had achieved near-total control without massive destruction. Ethan and Laura watched quietly. "The enemy cannot resist anymore," Ethan said. Laura nodded. "Humans have shown the galaxy what we are capable of. Control, discipline, intelligence, these are our greatest weapons." Humans prepared for the final steps. The war was almost over. Zoran and the remaining officers were terrified. They had no options, no fleets, no escape routes. The humans had removed every possibility of organized resistance. Even the strongest enemy ships were powerless. Fear had replaced courage. Surrender seemed the only choice. Captain Daniel gave calm final orders to his fleet. "Move to secure the remaining command structures. Maintain control. Avoid unnecessary destruction. The war ends now." Human crews followed orders precisely. Every strike was calculated, every move anticipated, every enemy error exploited. The Allied commanders could not believe what they saw. Decades of war had collapsed in hours. Humans had ended the enemy's ability to fight without unnecessary slaughter. Ethan reported, "The war is almost over." Humans have proven that intelligence and planning are stronger than anger or raw numbers. Human calmness, discipline, and intelligence had changed the war completely. The enemy had been controlled, immobilized, and blocked in every direction. Fear had spread, surrender was near, and the galaxy began to understand that humans fought unlike any other race. Humans did not celebrate or boast. They remained precise, calm, and disciplined. Their crews followed orders perfectly. Captain Daniel reminded them, "We finished this carefully. Control is more powerful than destruction." Human discipline was a weapon that no enemy could match. In these final hours, humans consolidated power, controlled fleets, and prepared for surrender. Fear ruled the enemy. Allied forces moved with confidence behind humans. The galaxy watched in awe as humans demonstrated a new kind of power. Wars could be ended in hours when intelligence, coordination, and calm discipline were applied. Ethan whispered, "The final hour is near." "The war will end soon," Laura nodded. "And when it does, the galaxy will remember humans forever." Humans had proven that when they fought differently with precision, strategy, and intelligence that no one could match. The enemy had nowhere to go. The war was almost over. The enemy command world floated silently in space. Its defenses were down, fleets were powerless, and panic ruled the officers. Zoran stared at his view screen. He had no escape. No fleets could fight back. His entire war had collapsed in hours. Humans had immobilized, blocked, and controlled every part of the battlefield. Surrender was the only option. Captain Daniel Price gave calm instructions to his fleet. Prepare for the final phase, maintain control, no destruction unless absolutely necessary. We end the war today. Every human crew member knew their role. Every ship moved quietly, precisely, and without unnecessary noise. Humans did not need explosions or anger to achieve victory. Their planning and discipline were more powerful than any weapon. Megan Clark worked on the final cyber operations. Every sensor, every weapon system, and every communication line on the enemy world was disabled. The enemy could not call for help, could not organize defenses, and could not fire a single weapon. Humans had taken control without firing a shot. Every alien officer was trapped by human strategy. Ethan Brooks observed quietly from the human observation station. Allied commanders looked on, amazed. Commander Rax whispered, "They did not destroy anything, yet the enemy cannot fight. Humans have done what no one else could." Ethan nodded. "Humans do not need to kill to win. Intelligence and planning are enough." Laura Bennett studied the enemy's remaining positions. She calculated the safest and most efficient way to take full control. "We can end this in minutes," she said. Captain Daniel agreed. "We act precisely. The galaxy will see that humans fight differently." Zoran finally sent a desperate message. "Spare my world, we surrender." "I have no options," Captain Daniel replied calmly. "Surrender now, your fleets are powerless. Resistance is useless, your people will live." The message spread across the enemy world. Officers and soldiers alike realized there was no escape. Humans had complete control. Human ships moved quietly toward the enemy surface. Landing teams were small, disciplined, and precise. No unnecessary destruction occurred. Humans secured command centers, control hubs, and essential infrastructure. Civilians and workers were unharmed. Humans had shown that war could be ended without slaughter. On the Allied command ships, hope and amazement filled every officer. Decades of war had ended in hours. Allied leaders moved openly, following human ships. They were inspired not only by human strength but by human intelligence and discipline. Ethan reported calmly, "The enemy cannot resist. Morale is zero. The war will end in minutes." Zoran's officers tried to negotiate further. "Please, we can cooperate. Give us mercy." Humans had already calculated every option. Captain Daniel responded, "Cooperate fully and live. Any attempt to resist will be blocked. Your fleets cannot fight." Fear ruled the enemy. They had nowhere to go. Every move had been anticipated and blocked. Humans did not celebrate. They worked methodically, ensuring the surrender was complete. Megan continued cyber operations, Laura guided fleet positions, and Daniel coordinated landings. Every crew member followed orders precisely. Humans had won not by rage, numbers, or destruction, but by intelligence, planning, and calm discipline. In the final hour, human ships surrounded every remaining enemy stronghold. No fleet could move. No communication could escape. Humans had immobilized every enemy command. Surrender messages were sent to every sector. Comply and survive. Resistance was impossible. Fear had spread completely through enemy ranks. Allied commanders watched, unable to believe the efficiency. Decades of war had collapsed in only 5 hours. Ethan whispered, "The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long. They do not fight like any other race. Intelligence and discipline win faster than numbers or anger." Commander Rax nodded. Hope filled his heart. The war was ending and humans had led the way. Zoran, trapped on his command world, had no choice. He activated the surrender protocols. Enemy fleets transmitted messages to all sectors. Humans control. Resistance is over. All worlds under threat will comply. The galaxy had never seen such rapid, controlled, and precise victory. Humans had achieved what no other race could, ending a massive war without massive destruction. Human crews moved to secure the remaining command centers. No lives were lost unnecessarily. Human discipline and planning ensured that the enemy world remained intact. Captain Daniel walked through the secured control rooms. He observed carefully, making sure everything was under control. Humans were precise, calm, and disciplined. The war had ended on human terms. Allied forces followed to occupy key positions, but humans remained in command. Ethan observed the galaxy-wide coordination. Humans did not fight like anyone else. They showed that intelligence, discipline, and planning can end wars in hours. Allied commanders could only nod, amazed. Decades of struggle had ended, not with endless battles, but with smart, careful strategy. Megan completed the final cyber operations. Every remaining enemy weapon system was offline. Communications were fully controlled by humans. Enemy crews understood they were powerless. Surrender was absolute. No retaliation was possible. Humans had ended a massive war faster than any race in history. Laura monitored fleet movements. Every fleet was accounted for, every sector under human control. Humans had minimized casualties and destruction. Their goal had been control, not slaughter. The galaxy had seen a new kind of power, one that relied on intelligence, planning, and calm execution rather than anger, numbers, or raw strength. Zoran and his officers were taken into custody. No unnecessary harm was done. Humans demonstrated restraint and control. Captain Daniel addressed the prisoners calmly. "The war is over. Your fleets are powerless. You have no options left. Comply and live." Zoran nodded, terrified but alive. Humans had shown mercy but also complete dominance. Ethan reported back to Earth, summarizing the operation. Humans entered the war, disrupted fleets, immobilized the enemy, and forced surrender all in only 5 hours. The galaxy has seen what humans are capable of. Allied leaders celebrated quietly. Decades of war had ended without chaos. Humans had done the impossible. Humans prepared to leave the battlefield. Fleets moved away slowly and methodically. Captain Daniel ensured all Allied and human ships were safe. The galaxy had witnessed a new type of power. Humans had not sought glory, revenge, or domination. They had acted with intelligence, precision, and discipline to end a war quickly and efficiently. Laura looked at the maps of the battlefield, now calm and quiet. "This is the first time humans have fought openly," she said. "And look at what we accomplished in only 5 hours." Ethan nodded. "The galaxy will never forget this. Humans fight differently, and now everyone knows it." The enemy fleets were powerless, their command centers under control, and their morale destroyed. Surrender had been absolute. Humans had ended a war that had lasted for decades in less than a day. No one could challenge them easily. The galaxy understood that when humans fought, they did not just win, they controlled, they planned, and they ended conflict decisively. Captain Daniel watched the stars quietly. "We have done what we needed to do. No unnecessary deaths, no wasted effort. The war is over." Megan and Laura nodded. Humans had acted efficiently, intelligently, and with complete control. The galaxy had witnessed a new model of warfare. Ethan whispered, 5 hours, the war is finished. Humans entered and they ended it. The Allied commanders could barely believe it. Decades of struggle had collapsed in hours. Humans had proven their unique power. Intelligence, calm, and planning were stronger than numbers, emotion, or anger. The galaxy would never forget this. Humans returned to Earth quietly. They had fought, they had ended a massive war, and they had shown the galaxy a new kind of strength. No celebrations were needed. Humans had acted calmly, decisively, and efficiently. The message was clear. When humans entered a war, they ended it, and they did so in ways no one else could. The enemy, defeated but alive, understood the lesson. Humans were not just fighters. They were thinkers, planners, and controllers. They did not need chaos to win. The galaxy had learned something new about the human race. In only 5 hours, everything had changed. The war was over. Humans had entered, humans had ended it, and the galaxy would remember forever that intelligence, planning, and calm discipline could surpass any army, any weapon, and any rage. Humans had shown that when they fought differently, and they won decisively.